He's box office and he's all ours. This is the real deal. GB News got Boris done. And now it's over to our political editor, Christopher Hope. Christopher, thank you very, very much. This is massive.
Yes, a big deal, Patrick. When he left being an MP, he said, "Hasta la vista, baby," and no one quite knew what that meant. Well, now it means joining GB News for a regular programmes on our channel to try and stress why he thinks Britain can be great again. In that clip there he sent us, he talked about how he wants to try and focus on foreign affairs, making Britain great again, Russia, China issues, Ukraine. I'm sure he'll touch in some part on domestic policy, but it is the kind of, for many people, not in Westminster, not where I'm in Westminster, but others, I think, he's the tonic which some people might be missing. I'll remind you the numbers when he left office. The Tory party was 12 points behind in the polls. Now it's 24 points, twice as bad as when he left under a year of Rishi Sunak, 28 points according to a GB News survey yesterday. So for many, he's the part of the problem of why the Tories have gone awry. For supporters, certainly, not for MPs. They got quite tired of all the ill discipline around his regime. But I think giving him a voice again on GB News will be quite interesting. I don't know what Number 10 might think about it. Of course, he's not an MP anymore. He's no political threat. But what he says will be interesting and will be setting the political weather.
This guy won a stonking majority, OK? People might find it difficult to understand, but for some reason, you know, this incredibly well-educated chap who some say was born into immense privilege and all of this stuff just touches the pulse of the nation, smashed the red wall down. People love him. People do not like the fact that he was ousted from office. You look at the way the Conservative Party is languishing in the polls right now, and it's easy to see why getting rid of Boris may well have been a mistake. And he is here, isn't he, to sell a positive vision for Britain, for us.
Yes, the party is doing twice as badly now, today, as it was when Boris Johnson was removed from office, according to the polls. I know Labour, people on Labour's side, back in as recently as September 2021, they were saying to me privately, when will Johnson retire? When will he leave? When will he move on? As it was Tory MPs who got him out the door within 9 months in a degree of panic that led to Liz Truss being appointed and then removed as leader as well until Rishi Sunak was appointed about a year ago this week. I think it'll be a reminder for a lot of Tory supporters and others who voted for him back in 2019 what they're missing. 13 million people voted for Johnson's party, the Tories then. It won't be that many at the next election, judging by polls.
Absolutely. Look, let me run you through it again. If you're just joining us, if the word's just gone around your WhatsApp groups or on Twitter and you're just joining us now, yes, your eyes are not deceiving you. The big breaking news, it concerns us, but really it concerns you. It concerns what's on offer for you now, as a viewer or a listener here on GB News. We have gone out and we have signed Boris Johnson, the man that everybody else wanted. We've gone and got him. Boris is going to be joining in the new year, OK? He's going to be playing a key role in the channel's coverage of both UK general election and the US elections next year. He's going to create and present a new series. He's going to showcase the power of Britain, global Britain. We know he's big on that, especially after everything that he's done with Ukraine, his relationship with the US as well. But I think this is probably the most exciting bit. We'll have to wait and see exactly how this pans out. But there's occasional special in front of live audiences around the UK. So, you know, GB News viewers and regulars and stalwarts who've been with us from the start, you know, you can now have the opportunity, quite possibly, to go and see Boris in the flesh. Boris has said that he's going to be giving this remarkable new TV channel my unvarnished views on everything from Russia, China, the war in Ukraine. Look, we're very, very happy to have him. We know from the inbox, the emails that I have in front of me every single minute of every single show that I do, this is the guy that you wanted. This is the guy that you wanted to come on and present a show here and present content for you. He's the one that I think a lot of you still wish was probably in at number 10. But, Christopher, you know, people will be snarling at this. There'll be some other people out there right now going, I think possibly through gritted teeth, turning slightly green with envy, saying, I can't believe they've gone and done this. Oh, and they'll be sneering at it. He is a controversial figure.
He's Marmite. He's not liked by a lot of people, but others. But people like him, really do like him. I was when he was London mayor, I went on a trip up north with him. Of course, before he was in office, and of course, the issues followed that with Partygate. But people out, they like him. For me, he passes that wet Tuesday night in Stoke test. If a bus pulls up, who gets off? If it's Mr. Sunak, Mr. Starmer, not so many. If it's Boris Johnson, a crowd will gather. not all be as big as fans, but he does stir the heart of the nation in a way I think that other politicians don't. And that's why a lot of MPs are glad he's not around, because it was quite difficult to manage him and to control him. Of course, he was ill-disciplined in parts of his office. He got the big calls right, you could say, in office. He was leading on Ukraine before he stood down. Of course, don't forget the vaccine programme as well. He led on that. I think he's someone who will be second in the political weather for another 10 years or 20 years or so, and he'll be doing it right here on GB News.
He will be, absolutely. And it's what he brings with him as well. It's the kind of people that he brings with him and the kind of content that we can now give to our viewers and to our listeners as a result. A man who, you know, for many people was deemed to be the people's Prime Minister, who's still, especially for people up north, and this is, again, something that I think other media outlets fail to recognise. They are so obsessed with the Westminster minutiae, the London-centric approach. They forget that not only is there a bigger world out there, there's actually a much bigger country out there. There are huge communities out there that feel fundamentally unrepresented by the media landscape. And Boris Johnson punched through that red wall. And that's what we're going to hope to do here as well. But, Christopher, you alluded to the idea that maybe, just maybe, Number 10 won't be too happy about this. What's the reaction? We've done quite well to keep this under wraps, I'll be honest with you. So they are finding out about this, along with the rest of the nation right now.
Well, we haven't asked them, and I can imagine that when we do go to them, they'll shrug their shoulders and say, well, you know, it's the media, he's a former politician, good luck to him, you know, it's a free country, and off he goes. But, I mean, I think, he is someone who does feel he's got unfinished business in politics. He said, hasta la vista, baby, at the dispatch box in his last private minister's questions. That means I'll be back, by the way, Patrick. He'll be back soon, is the idea. I mean, that's the point. I mean, he thinks he's just more in him. He feels, I know that he does feel that the northern red wall seats you talked about there were many people voted for the Tory party because he was their leader, and they wonder, he thinks he hasn't really been out there for them in the past few years. Levelling up was his idea, increased spending in the north of England, I think, and that's the point. And I think this is a chance maybe for him to give them a chance to get their say out there, and I wonder where it might lead him. It might stir him again. He's got quite bruised last year, I think, with being thrown out by his own Tory MPs. But when he starts meeting with GB News viewers, meeting with red wall voters, it might get him going again. And maybe he's back in politics before long. Who knows? Yeah, I'll tell you what, he's back in business, that's for sure. Look, Christopher, thank you very, very much. Christopher Hope, there, GB News' political editor.